So once upon a time, something happened in a distant studio far, far away. Now, I know this is a division video, but hear me out. Let's first jump into some of these things, and I'm sure you're probably going to know where it is that I'm going. Just a few months ago, a studio, 4A Games, unveiled their SDK. They pretty much opened up their game engine to their fans to be able to develop levels and fun mods within their game. Now, this is not for commercial use. Now, I know that 4A Studios is out in Ukraine, and they did mention and publish a lot of their challenges during the issues going on in their region right now. And they said while they were at it, making their next few games, they wanted to go ahead and open up their world, basically their development engine, their kit, and allow for their gamers to be able to go ahead and just use the engine to make fun projects. They're not interested, according to them, in actually, maybe licensing their SDK like the way Unreal Engine does with the way Epic does with Unreal Engine, and the way maybe say, Unity does with their Unity game engine, and Amazon has its own game engine and so on and so forth that you can use for kind of like your own projects, but you have to pay when it makes it commercial. But I thought this was actually a cool idea. And all you have to have is you just have to have a copy of the game on Epic Games or I think Steam as well, and you're able to use this. Even this particular aspect of the game is maybe more the extreme aspect of things. One thing that I did notice too was Ubisoft also used to take this approach a long time ago. In fact, their Far Cry games used to have their map and level editors. These are editors that you can use to make all kinds of cool stuff. And even at the time that people were talking about the recreation of these worlds using the assets and stuff that Ubisoft provides within the game, one of them was heavily celebrated. And this was one that depicted a New York environment a long time ago. Ladies and gentlemen, division agents all over the world, you probably know where I'm going with this now that I said that, right? Well, Ubisoft massive, you say, the division is under kind of like smaller management and smaller support and all that stuff. And we know that one day the Division 1 is more than likely going to go offline. At that point, what are you guys going to do with all of that wealth of assets, wealth of knowledge, wealth of code and programming, and all kinds of game mechanics? Maybe you want to churn them into another game, or possibly you could allow for modding in the games. Oh my gosh, it is a crazy idea. I know, this is what happens when you give me a microphone and you let me sit down and start to kind of like think, like, what in the world am I going to make videos on that's going to get the developers laughing in the launch room? When they watch these videos, they're just going to probably start laughing. And if they even take this to their boss, it's probably going to be comedic. Hey, listen to me, folk. If you're in Ubisoft Massive, you got to show your bosses this video. You might get a promotion as to how funny this crazy YouTuber sounds. But I don't necessarily think that this is as outlandish as it seems anyways. I can understand there'll be logistical issues. There'll be all kinds of technical, maneuvers that have to be made because the way the game runs, it's basically built on a server and client model. A lot of things are run on the server side that may not necessarily, be able to, get the job done. But what if this is a possibility? What if they're able to take some of their IPs and start to maybe license them? I can understand that licensing model is actually a crazy idea. It's a big deal. It's not easy. Epic Games manages it, and they manage it well with their Unreal Engine, where they can serve their customers. They can serve many kinds of customers, actually, not just the big names. Even the indie developers, they benefit from that ecosystem because of the way things have been set up. But that's also a slightly different thing because it's commercial based. But Ubisoft already has these licenses and can already make these licenses and keep them. But imagine a division, mode where you could actually go in, you could design all kinds of different levels. Maybe you can share those levels on, say forums or anywhere, and people can play those levels, see how you actually fare. They can set up enemy NPCs, put them all, all across the map, maybe have them in spawn points and just do something very cool and very simple that I think is really going to enhance and open up this entire world. Because I think one thing the division is missing is just that, cutting open of the system so that everybody can kind of see how things work. Yes, there's a lot of, like I said, there'll be a lot of hurdles to jump through, but I don't think it's going to really be a bad idea. I mean, if you think about it, we've seen Snowdrop in action before. Some of you may or may not necessarily know. And I know I'm not the only one who remembers this. I specifically remember a state of the game back in the Division 1 where one of the developers came on State of the Game and was actually having a chat with everybody while they were designing and working in the Snowdrop engine. Now, in that particular State of the Game, what they did was they took a mission from the Division 1 Hudson Refugee Camp, which is a cleaner mission, and they turned it into an LMB mission by changing the assets, changing some of the different structures, and just redesigning the whole level. And I'm sure everybody that was in that stream got to see it, and people were kind of stoked. In fact, SkillUp used to have that video on his channel, but I think eventually, by request of, the publisher Ubisoft, he basically took the video down because I'm sure they wanted to probably maybe, in a sense, hide some of their proprietary works. But at this time and in this day and age, with Unreal Engine 5 being such a big deal, I mean, Snowdrop is good, but at the end of the day, many developers can kind of copy what Snowdrop is capable of doing. So I'm not saying that they just need to throw everything out there and just make the SDK-like thing like 4A games did, but at least I think they can probably create modes within the Division that allow for players to be able to, explore these aspects of the game, just like they used to do with the Far Cry games. It's something that's probably going to take some, development, resources, but hey, what's the harm in it if it's going to provide a little bit more fun, a different aspect of looking at things within the whole Division game as a whole. I know the build side is going to be the mess, but hey, that could be its entire game, and you guys know that we Division agents, we will sit here and we will mess with it. I mean, we definitely would. But anyways, this is just my crazy ideas. I thought I'd put this one out here. I know I'm going to file it under madness and, let you guys basically chew on it, comment on it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.